Now, I know. You guys have probably seen a few of the updates, or at least maybe headlines saying that yes, the market is, sales are up. And certainly that is the case. The numbers are certainly higher, but I'm still seeing this constantly. And so month after month this year, I've kind of been giving different perspectives on the same idea. And here's one from the decisionlab.com. There's a website you should definitely check out. This is many buyers, home buyers in the GTA right now. And you'll notice that as happiness goes up, there's choices, it's great, but the more choices, the happiness begins to go down. What's the main thing is, right now, a lot of home buyers, and I've talked to lots of home buyers. I've talked to a lot of buyers agents, both of whom are somewhat frustrated because it's difficult to make a decision when there's lots of inventory. A lot of choices make things more difficult. It's a funny thing to think about when buyers for years and years have been asking, listen, we want a slower market, we want the prices to go down, and we want lots of options. And right now there are lots of options, a slower market, and of course the prices are softened. In many areas they've actually gone down. But now there are too many options, and so that seems to be the reason a lot of buyers are not getting into the game. So sellers, on the other hand, are having their own side of the issues, and this is a lot of sellers right now. I know I have lots of listings. These are not my clients. My listings are listed pretty well, but in general, this is happening right now. Hey, let's put the market. Let's put the house on the market. It looks like it should be somewhere around 1.5. What do you think? Oh, you know what? I'm going to try to 2 million. Honestly, that could be a meme at this point. And it does happen, and buyers know this, and sellers should know this because they still have their eyes and their minds in the clouds of 2022, the peak of the market. So often what you have in a market like this is there are a lot of options, so buyers are holding back, waiting for the market to crash. We're going to talk about it in just a second. And while sellers are still living in the year before that in terms of prices, so never the twain shall meet. But nonetheless, even so, realtors like myself working hard to get those people together, and quite often they do, as you can see with the numbers of September, last month in the GTA. So welcome, beautiful people, as I kind of stumble through my introduction there to the October 2025 GTA housing market update. Listen, I always said this one is important. I do it almost every month, to be honest, but they are important. You're going to find information here that you're not going to see anywhere else, and I really mean this. Feel free to fast forward if you want to just check it out. There's going to be information here that you're not going to see because I really try to give you a reason for why I think, for example, it's a good time to buy in the GTA in terms of resale especially, and why I think you can still sell, but you have to be very careful about a few specific things. So I'm going to give you the information shortly, but here's the gist of what's going to happen this month. So I'm going to tell you what's happening right now, what is actually happening. I still see, and this frustrates me, I confess, frustrates me not only as a guy on YouTube, but as a realtor or as a professional. There's so much clickbait, there's so much negative, and it gets people's attention, it gets a lot more clicks. But the few thousand of you are going to see this on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, a few other places that I take this to, you're going to get the right info. And then you come away going, okay, what do I think about this? So what's happening right now? Where's the crash? And people are still talking about the market crash. And I'm going to give you some insight, as I often do every month, into that. And I think I'm going to answer it for you, basically. What's going to happen from now to Christmas and what you should be doing, whether you're buying or selling, or perhaps both. Of course, as always, I'm Andrew the Realtor. I do this for the local market. I want you guys to have information this kind of on the ground, the actual statistics. On the top left there, you're going to find the QR code. That's my little real estate experience. Scan that. Get in there. You can. My contact information is there. If you have any questions, listen. Don't hesitate to reach out. People are often weird. You're gonna go from this to Google the best realtor in this. Listen, contact me. I'll get your information. I've never pushed anyone to sell or buy anything. So have a look at that, and of course, ask Andrew.realtor if you're gonna just go to the website directly. So right off the bat, where are we right now in terms of the market? This on the left here, you got the year over year. On the right, you got the month over month. Year over year is most important. I include month over month, just in case it's of interest. You can pause this, have a look, feel free. But I'm going to take you through some of the stuff that's important. Green, good. Blue, neutral. Red, maybe not so great. Okay. Year over year, September versus September of 2024. So sales are up, and that's what you're going to see a lot of. Sales are up. Everyone's excited. Well, September last year was not a great September. It was a decent September. And in fact, as those of you who get my newsletter remember, I mentioned every month except for December, this half of this year is going to be anywhere between 5,000 to 6,000 sales, probably about 5,500 give or take. And for September, my estimate was 5,700. It ended up being just under 56. I was pretty close. So anyway, the point being, this is how it's going to be until September, when things naturally die off because of the holidays and a little bit because of the weather. The negative thing, of course, is the drop in price. Now, if you're a buyer, obviously that's not negative for you, but in general, you do want to maintain a value. And that said, an average of less than 5% is not a big deal. And where's the market crash that people are talking about? I'm going to give you some numbers a little bit after this to give you a little more insight into that. But here's the interesting thing, buyers. Here's why I'm kind of nudging you along on a consistent basis. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be over the top or anything. But notice the new listings and active listings Treb-wide, GTA-wide. New listings are only up 3.9%. So last month of September, we listed less than 4% more properties than we did in September of 2024. So really, really high inventory all this year. The new listings coming into the market are starting to come down more, to become more average versus the crazy amount of stuff that we're putting on the market. Take note of that, and then take note of active listings. Now, active listings were still very, very high. And it's not record high, but it's darn close. So way higher, almost 19% higher than September of 2024. So active inventory is still very, very high, good for buyers. But the new listings hitting on the market is starting to become a little more normal. My point being, this high inventory, this very high inventory with lots of choices for buyers, it's not going to last the way it is for very, very long. In the next few months, well into next year, I'm sure the inventory is going to be pretty healthy, but it's not going to be like this. And so buyers are really in a spot right now up until maybe the end of the year, maybe the beginning of next year, where there's a lot of great options. And I really want people to know that. Another thing to notice as well, look at the two reds. Less than 5% decrease year over year. So it's not a huge drop in general. And that's on average. Remember, there's different areas, different properties. But property days on market went from 42 to 51. So even though homes, condos, properties in general, on average, are staying on the market for almost 2 months, the average price, with all this inventory, the average price still went down less than 5%. That's the resiliency of the GTA housing market, and why you have to really be careful listening to people talk about market crashing. Oh, just wait it out, it's going to go even lower. Listen, this has been going on for a while. We had record high inventory beginning of the year, and still, days on market's even higher and prices still maintaining. That's because it's, again, a very resilient market. There is always demand, even if that demand at times is kind of hesitating and waiting, like many buyers are right now. And of course, we see the numbers in terms of the different kinds of properties. Everything's down accordingly. Of course, condos are actually down a little bit less than before. Maybe they're getting a little healthier, but that's a very, very high inventory there. Month over month, nothing really to see here. It's very normal for a September versus August. Septembers are usually busier than August. And the prices tend to also go up because there's more inventory, more homes sell, and if more of those homes will be expensive homes. That pushes the average price a little bit, 3%, 3.6, not a huge deal. And so the rest of that is very normal. Again, look on the left if you want to pause it. That should tell an astute buyer, hey, listen, this is a good time to really get in there. I need to start making things happen here. So where's the crash? Here, I want you to see this. These are average prices from 2020 actually, all the way through 2025. So overall in the past 4 years, so 2021, the past 4 years, overall, in terms of September, please keep in mind September versus September, year after year, over 4 years, the overall drop has been around 9%. You can see the numbers, pause it, check out the numbers, do the math, it's right around 9%. Now, that's not the overall drop, because we know that here, historic peak, I try to make a big red blotch there. That's first quarter of 2022. That's the historic peak. It's right around there. So naturally, from there to now, it's been a big drop. But what I'm saying to you is, that's the crash. I know you were expecting something a little more sexy, but that actually is the crash. The crash has happened over time from the peak of 22 to where it is right now. If you go September to September, absolutely. You're looking at about a 9% drop. If you're looking from the height of 2022 to September last month, then yeah, that's probably more like 20%, maybe even up to over 20%, depending on the area, but in general. So, but that's it. And so I want you to understand that, because it's really important, because people are still waiting to think a crash is some huge thing, like the 2008 housing crisis in the States, just a few days and things are going on. Well, no, this isn't it. This is the crash. So it kind of already happened. You're towards the end of it, and you don't know where the bottom is, because, well, you only find out where the bottom is once it starts going back up. And watch for that to happen sometime soon too, by the way. So let's look at opportunity again, but now give it some more context. Let's look at interest rates. I'm going to minimize myself here. Interest rates. One important note is you look at this pattern here. It's interesting to note that it very, very rarely throughout history, and this is just going back to 2024, does the Bank of Canada only cut once. It usually cuts twice. And we're going to give some reason in the next few slides why that is going to happen. So that's my big question mark. The next meeting for the Bank of Canada is October 29th. So we just had a quarter cut. We're down to 2.5% bank overnight rate, Bank of Canada. That's probably going to go down another quarter. Probably. Down to 2.25, which is pretty low. So again, look at the drops. Two, sometimes more than two. I don't think it'll be more than 2. Some say yes, some say no. It depends on the economy. But if not October 29th, which I honestly think is going to happen, I've been pretty accurate this year, it's going to happen certainly before the end of the year. So that's where we're at. So, okay, buyers, again, going back to that happiness, inventory gets too high, your happiness goes down because you don't know which way to go because you have too many choices. Listen, the opportunity is now. You're really going to get into this. High inventory. New inventory is not coming on as fast as it was earlier in the year. That's important to note. Prices have not dropped very much. We've seen that we're pretty much at the bottom of the crash, quote unquote. And now we're looking at possibly lower interest rates, which you'll get if you buy a house right this second. You'll probably get this interest rate because you're not going to close within 2 weeks or so. That's important. That's a heck of a thing. You can do this all before the end of the year. Contact me. I'll get you in the house before December. You'll be ecstatic. But again, you have to believe that this actually is an opportunity. Here's some more context for what I was saying in terms of opportunity. Now, interest rates. This is something very interesting. You probably haven't seen this. The best variable rate offering has drifted lower by 17 points to hit 3.93. The Bank of Canada affects more of the variable rate. What about the fixed rate? A lot of people get the fixed rate. Rightfully so. Right now, fixed rate will be amazing, especially if you get under 4%. And guess what? Many are offering 3.93. Get a good mortgage agent, especially independent ones. They get you under 4% quite often for a fixed rate mortgage. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yes, I know it's not the 2% or 1.9% that we're getting in 2021. What was it, 2020? But this is amazing. And so, again, even that's gone down. So that's another good thing for buyers. Take note. More context now. Affordability. Affordability still remains high, generally speaking. It's back to where we were back in quarter 4 of 2021. Pause this and have a read. So, listen, there is confidence in the housing that is increasing. It's not quite where we would like it to be. Again, as I pointed to in my very first slide in terms of buyers, this is great. Like, I know, good news, very bad for the internet. I mean, bad news is fantastic. That's how you get the most clicks. I'm not going to give you that here. You have opportunity here. Onward. Power of sales. Oh, yeah, Andrew, but power of sales. Everyone can't afford the mortgages anymore, right? Well, no. Actually, first of all, notice where the power of sales come from. You can actually go online. CMHC has a delinquency chart. You can get free online. Look at it. The numbers for Toronto and a lot of parts of Ontario in general, actually very, very low. They're in the 0.000 of something of a percent. Very, very low numbers. And even those that do go power sale, those who are delinquent on their mortgages, very unfortunate. I know people have gone through that. I've worked on some of those. It's a difficult thing. But please note who those people are specifically in terms of financing. The big banks of power of sales, forgive the blurriness. It's a slide. I had to increase it. The big 6 banks, 6%. Alternative lenders, First National, Merits, good lenders that maybe just don't have a bank that you guys might not know about, they're in the 4. So the 10% of it is actually real good lenders that are going to power of sale. The rest of them are all B lenders, private institutions, and individual private lenders. These are all B, C, people with lower credit, they're over leveraged, that kind of thing. So those who have normal mortgages with the big banks or with one of the major A lenders, and there's lots of them in Canada, I mean, they're not the ones having the issues. Most of the issues are the ones who would naturally, if you're going to a B lender or a C lender, you've got either credit issues, maybe you're self-employed like myself, and then maybe you have some credit issues, that kind of thing. So bankruptcy, those kinds of things. Most people don't fall into that. So again, you'll notice if you look at CMHC's website, you're not going to have huge power sale numbers. Yes, they've increased, of course, because interest rates have increased significantly in the past 4 or 5 years. That number's going to go up, unfortunately. But these are, they're not. It's not a surprise who specifically it happens to sometimes, by the way. So, more context. Again, loans in arrears by product type. People say, a lot of people are in arrears. It sounds nice. You'll click on it, clickbait, it's negative, and it gets a lot of views. But in reality, notice where mortgages are in terms of the overall numbers. Installment loans, credit cards, auto loans, those kind of things. Mortgages are way down here. Everybody knows in the GTA, the mortgage is the last thing to go. I know people who will eat less, maybe not pay for their car, but they're going to pay their mortgage. Context. Inflation. Okay, Andrew, but what about inflation? Certainly has an effect on interest rates, which has an effect on the market. Blah, blah, blah. Here's what it is, what it was in August of this year. 1.9, still within the 2 range. Yes, it went up from 1.7, which then went down from 1.9. So we're right in there. It's not like we're skyrocketing. I always circle the highest we had in quite some time. Of course, the peak of 2022 in June, 8.1% inflation. We're way, way, way below that. Certainly, we'd love for it to be lower, and there's different kinds of inflation numbers and stuff. I get it. This is the general one. We're still under. So, again, the chance of a rate cut because of something like this, quite high, certainly by the end of the year. And that means, of course, busy market and everything else. So, guys, here's what I'm trying to tell you. Buyers, especially buyers, please pay attention. Like, you have an amazing opportunity. The crash wasn't or isn't what you thought it was. So, literally, seriously, stop waiting. Whoever's telling you to wait, show them this. Have them comment how horrible and stupid I am and realtors can't be trusted. Please, I'm happy to do that. I don't get many comments. I get views and likes and occasional likes, mostly just views, and people actually contact me, which is phenomenal. That's what I like to do. I love to chat with you or whoever thinks that this is actually going to go down. My contact information, Ask Andrew the Realtor. You can find it on there. So listen, you just saw the prices are down, what, 4% this year? 4.7 something percent? 9% in the past 4 years in terms of September's. I showed you those charts. So inventory is way up. Affordability is up. Interest rates are coming down at least one more time. And power sales are they're higher, but they're not sky. The sky is not falling, and the crash kind of already happened. So again, opportunity waits. And after speaking to so many frustrated realistic sellers, I've known many people have taken their houses off the market not because they're crazy priced, just like the interest isn't there, and they're great properties. The kind of properties people complain about not having of the past few years. Yeah, those guys, they're sometimes taking their houses off the market, and they're asking, "What are you waiting for?" Sincerely, call me. My information is always at the bottom of the video. Contact me. We'll have a chat. I'd love to work with buyers right now. Again, because I really think the opportunity is there. I feel like I'm selling like Bitcoin or something. I don't know about Bitcoin. I know this is a great opportunity. Why wouldn't it be? Oh, Andrew, but what about this one assignment condo that's going to... Well, listen, I'm not talking about that specific assignment condo that's going bankrupt or they're going to finish, or maybe they're going to finish late, whatever. I'm talking about, in general, the thousands upon thousands of homes, condos that are available in the normal resale inventory. Those are available for you. They're amazing. The price is not bad by GTA standards. Sellers, by no means should this be a huge discouragement for you. And I have sellers out there. I got several listings out there kind of on a regular basis. And so I want to make sure that this is absolutely correct and truthful. Sales are happening. As you saw, the numbers are up. That's what other people are talking about. Yes, absolutely. But you have to know what you're in for. You have to be realistic. If you don't get an offer in the first 2 weeks, do not panic. Do not panic. You have to be prepared for that. Average days on market is, 51 days? Now, most of my... Not going to be that, but sometimes they are. You never know. If you decide to sell, you have to know your numbers. Know your numbers for your area. Know the numbers for the area you're moving to. I talk about this every single month, and I talk about it because it's very, very important. I actually wrote an article about it a while back. And then you plan carefully from the start. Before you do anything, plan carefully. I talk to my clients. I have clients right now who have bought first and now are selling. I have clients right now who are selling first and then they will buy. Either way, they started from the start. They started thinking about the numbers, figuring out the plan from the start, and they're sticking to the plan. If you're listed and you're not getting a lot of action and you're not with me, please understand, price may not always be your issue. Sometimes it is. Quite often it is, but it's not always the issue. Sometimes, I'm telling you, I've seen it out there in many different areas of GTA. It's not the price. There's just no demand right now. There's just a low number of buyers. Yes, if you cut your price in half and totally mess up your financial future, absolutely, yes, you'll be able to sell. But in a normal range, in a normal price range, realistic, logical, everything else, you may still not sell your house. And this is provable by simply looking at an area, finding one house on a street of a specific price, then find 2 or 3 other homes in that area, sometimes on the same street, significantly lower, they're still on the market. Why are they still on the market? Because the price isn't always the thing. Sometimes there's just a lack of demand. It's unfortunate, but you have to be realistic. And if nothing else, at least you won't give the house away. As always, guys, Andrew the Realtor, I appreciate your time, highly appreciate your time. QR code on the top left, my little real estate experience. My website, askandrew.realtor. Don't hesitate to reach out. Once in a while, out of the blue moon, I get a text message from somebody or a call from somebody. It's a nice conversation. I try to answer questions. Sometimes those people are in a rough spot. If you're in a rough spot, call me. I'm not the pressure type. I'm not a shark. I'm not out there trying to take advantage of anyone who's in a distressed situation. People love the distressed thing. Investors trying to get into. No. Listen, contact me. I'll be happy to help. Until, November? Sweet heavens. October, it's going to be the winter soon. Andrew the Realtor, thanking you for your time. See you next month.